have been doing social work since the beginning of time. Both the Bible and the Quran mentions the question of charity, and they use almost the same word, tzedakah. If you go to Florence, there's an institution that was established in 1441 for what was called the gittatelli, castaways, children who were cast away. If you go to Paris, there's an institution in 1535 that deals with enfants trouvés, infants found, and so on and so forth. So all along, there have been people who have been doing what is the equivalent of social work, performing the functions of social work, accepting that it was on a hit-and-miss basis, people who volunteered to do this, people who felt that they were interested in it, but there was no professional organization. A professionalization of social work began around the turn of the century when people who were involved in this kind of activity decided that they wanted to codify the practice wisdom that was available and then establish programs of training for people who might be interested in doing this work. And so early in the 20th century, schools were established by, just before World War I, we had 5 schools of social work. We had the beginning of a literature, social diagnosis, the beginning of textbooks, and so on. Now, over the course of time that I've been associated with social work, there's been increased professionalization of the activity. That development in professionalization was the one that I became interested in social work, seeing this as a very worthy endeavor, a service that was very desirable and that the community needed, but nevertheless one that needed to be upgraded in terms of its research and in terms of its education. And over the course of the 60 years, what we had was a development of the infrastructure of the profession. NASW, the national organization, was established. CSWE, the Council on Social Work Education, that had the responsibility for educational programs. We developed many more schools of social work so that by now we have something like 125 master degrees program. We have about 60 DSW or PhD programs. We have over 300 bachelor's degree programs. So there has been then a proliferation of the educational establishment and the proliferation of the support. In addition, we have amassed a very considerable amount of information that the testimonial to that is the first edition of the Social Work Encyclopedia. It was called the 1929 Yearbook, had 600 pages. The last edition of the Encyclopedia of Social Work has more than 3,000 pages, which indicates something of the massive information that we've developed over the course of time. As part of the infrastructure, we've had licensing in most states, have registration in many states, and so on and so forth. All of this relates to the infrastructure of a profession, the establishment of the structure of the profession.